Hello everybody, my name is yesfull and today we're going to go over Blender, more tailored to a game development mindset. A lot of the YouTubers on here, they do great work on showing Blender, but it's kind of a general, broad sense, and I don't feel like it's tailored towards how you can use it for game development, how it can reduce poly counts, all this stuff. You'll kind of, if you're unfamiliar with those terms, they'll make sense later as we kind of go through this. So, to start off, I want to note that I am also just a learner. I am just getting into all of this, and I would say I'm probably an intermediate, close to advanced skill level in Blender. I do plan to bring some other videos in later that are going to be focused on not Blender, other aspects like engines and whatever. But at the moment, I don't know enough there to feel comfortable teaching others about it. However, with Blender, I've been doing this for a while now, and I really do get Blender. So I want to start teaching others, help them through the path, and kind of do it in a way that I feel like would have helped me better when I was first jumping into this. So, to get started, we're going to learn to kind of navigate inside this little viewport. This area here, this is called the viewport. To look around this space, you want to push your middle mouse button. Then boom. You can look around. If you push shift, you can do side to side, up and down. If you push control and do the same thing, you can zoom in and out. Now, of course, you can always just zoom in and out with your scroll wheel. But that's not as controlled. It's more convenient sometimes, but it's not as controlled. So, one thing that I'm sure you're all thinking about is all of this. Well, don't worry about it. I don't want to focus on that right now. That's not... It's a whole other beast, and I'd rather teach it to you in a separate episode. I just kind of want to get you started, and we're not going to worry about it except for some options that are down here, and that's about it. Okay. First things first, I want to remove these two items. We will not use them for the majority of what we're doing with this. They kind of don't serve us much of a purpose for the most part with modeling. So to select an item, you want to right click on it. So we'll go ahead and hover over this one, right click. And if you push shift and do the same thing to the other, you can now select both at the same time. Now if you want to remove them, we're going to push X. Push X, you can see this little menu pops up. And it'll kind of spawn where your mouse is. Go ahead and push that, and push delete. Hold on 1 second here. Oops. Forgot to pull up my little thing that shows what options I'm clicking on. Alright, go ahead and click on the cube. So yeah. So by the way, just so you know, that thing I popped up over here, that is for me only. It shows what I am selecting. So if I push like Shift C or something, you see how it shows the options I clicked. You can see when I select them with my mouse and everything. Speaking of which, if you left click, you'll see this little guy kind of appears. Now, of course, if you select here, you can move this up and down with the arrows and everything. If you push Control Z, you can put it right back in the center. But now to address this guy, he's called the 3D cursor. What he does is help spawn things in, make certain points, or whatever you really need. I'll explain more about him in later episodes. But for right now, we're not going to worry about him. It doesn't matter where he is. He could be in the middle of your model. He could be somewhere out, way past the grid. You don't have to worry about him. Alright. So once you have this cube selected, go ahead and push Tab. Tab will put you into what's called edit mode. And now here's the three little things we're going to be working with here. You can also see right here it says edit mode. Edit mode is the part that lets us edit the model. It lets us manipulate it and change the way it looks so we can start really messing with it. So you can see now it's like this, although we don't ever want to do something like this because you can kind of see how that is broken right there. It doesn't look right. There's no line, there's no edge determining that bend point. Let's go ahead and push Control Z and get back there. Alright, so that little corner I just messed with, those are called vertices. And they kind of are the linking corners to the edges and faces. So the next little item here, or next little button, those are the edges. You know, same kind of concept. You can mess with it, move it side to side, do whatever you want. Same thing with the faces. Move it up and down. Alright, so make sure when you're done, your cube looks the same as it did before. And then go ahead and select one face on whatever side, doesn't matter for right now. Later on it'll make a little bit more of a difference, but you can always fix it if it's not in the proper position. Okay, once you have that selected, go ahead and push E. Now you'll notice this will just kind of follow your mouse and extend out. This is giving us some extra geometry to work with. All of this is called geometry. This is giving us some extra geometry to work with. There's nothing internal, it's all hollow. So if we scroll in here, you can kind of see nothing going on inside. So that means that it's just hollow. Now this is cool, but it's not what we really want to work with. Oh, by the way, I forgot to note, if you're still stuck there like I can't get rid of it, just left click. When you move it, just left click on it and it'll stop. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And of course, you can always left click on to the arrows and extend it however you want. But go ahead and Control Z, put back here. I want to note one thing real quick before I show you what to do. If you push E and you decide you didn't want to do that and you push Escape, Escape will back you to make things go back to the last place they were at. But that geometry is still there. So it's just scrunched up here instead of being gone. So to actually get rid of it, you want to Control Z until those dots that were around there are gone. So you can kind of see right here how there's dots around the edges. That's a surefire way to tell, or you can always just select the face and pull it out and see if there's something there. And just push Control Z till it's gone. So once you have your cube looking like this, we're going to push E, and then we're going to have this go out a set distance. So this way we can have basically another cube. Instead of guessing the size, we're going to push 2. Boom, and then go ahead and left click, and now you'll have another cube sitting right next to it. It's all part of the geometry. We're going to do the same thing here, E, and then 2. So it'll extend out this way as well. It'll always extend the direction that the faces are going. Now we're going to click this one, and we're going to select all of these. So go ahead and shift click everything, and then push E, and then 2. Left click. We're going to do the same thing here. E, and then 2. Now, of course, if I wanted to go out again, this wouldn't work the same way. If I pushed E, you see it's all broken and everything. I'll explain more about the extrusion tool in later episodes, but you can't do this without setting it to a specific setting to allow you to actually expand out properly. So don't worry about selecting each side. There's better ways to do it, and I'll explain in later episodes. So now we have a nice little larger kind of cube going on here. Go ahead and select, actually let's do the bottom first. Go ahead and select the bottom and select these 4 corners here. And then go ahead and push E, and then let's do 3. Or you can do your own custom height, but these are going to be the legs of the chair. Okay. And then over here, we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of shift, we're going to push Control. Control will just basically go in a line, but it's always going to go in the path of least resistance. So if I went over here, and then I wanted to go over here and have it go up here, there's no guarantee it'll actually go up here. It probably will just go along here. Right? So if I do that, see, it went along this path. Same thing if I went over here to here, it's going to cover this whole side of the chair first. So instead of actually going to a straight line, it's going to go in its own weird path of least resistance. Now, if I go here to here, it's much quicker than pushing shift click. And it'll be for sure straight. There's no way it can't be. So once you selected that, go ahead and push E, and I don't know, I want to make it taller than the legs, just a little bit, so I say, let's do 4. Yeah, that looks about right. So now we have a nice little chair going on here. And if you push tab again, you can kind of see it just looks like a solid chair. There you go, you guys just made yourself a nice chair. And if you wanted to kind of further mess with it, you can always lean it back, right, by clicking this and letting go. You can select the side and pull it out, select the other side and pull it out. Maybe a little bit more, right? And there you go. You kind of have a nice little expanded, strange-looking chair. If you just wanted to go over here, select this. You could expand it out and give it kind of a weird, sharp thing going on. You want to be careful when you do that, though, because you can always break it. So you can kind of see that. But you can do whatever you guys want with it. You can kind of see how you now have the ability to make things. Now, this is just the first step. There are, of course, a much larger pool of tools to work with. Some are in the menus. Some are shortcuts. You can pretty much do everything through shortcuts, and that's part of the reason I'm showing you starting off with shortcuts. Because honestly, Blender is one of those programs where the menus kind of overcomplicated and convoluted that shortcuts are the best way to generally go. Later down the road, though, once we kind of get you accustomed to the menu, I will show you where things are on the menu. I'm sure some of you who've been looking at them still, even though I said we're going to deal with it later, you can kind of see some of the options I was already doing on the side menu. But now we're done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'd love to hear your comments, thoughts. You know, this is my first time doing a tutorial like this. So let me know any feedback. I plan to do these on a weekly basis. But anyway, have a good one. I hope you all stay yesfull and never stop learning. See ya.